Okay, I did think that maybe we'd skip it and wait till we're back at school, but I thought we'll give it a go. But if we find it's not working very well and it's a bit frustrating and you can't really see the graphs close enough on Dr. Frost and all of that, I've got a backup plan. I've got something else in mind we could do if that happens, but we'll give it a go and just see how successful it is. Okay. I've just mentioned to some of you, but for those of you who are a bit later arriving, whilst I encourage you normally to run off a worksheet, the very nature of these distance time graphs, they're quite big, so it's pretty much like a question per page. So, yes, go on.
They might be too big to hand in though.
Well, remember, you don't really have to hand it in, do you? I mean, obviously, you're handing it in by doing the answers onto Dr. Frost, aren't you? So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, but it might be too big for your printer to really cope with. You might not want to run off this number of pages. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And as long as you sort of understand what's going on, we can always revisit it another time. Okay. So so it would be a typical lesson where we a bit of teaching which is recorded, and then you're having a go at the Dr. Frost questions. And while you're doing that, obviously I'll share my screen with the questions that you're working on. As per normal, you just ask me for any help if you need it. If your answers are nearly right and the only reason you're getting it wrong is you can't quite read the graph properly, a bit like yesterday, then I can intervene and mark it right, even though you're slightly outside the boundaries that Dr. Frost wanted. Because do you remember that was happening yesterday? You couldn't quite read it accurately enough. So as long as I could see you were very, very near the right answer, so you'd done the right method, I was overriding a wrong answer and making it right. So there might have to be quite a bit of that again today. So a distance time graph. I'm only going to use this, excuse me, this one slide today. If we were in lessons, excuse me, and we had a worksheet, then I would do a number of examples, but I just think it's going to be too fiddly doing it online. So, and apologies, it's a little bit blurred, but we'll just have to bear with that. So the way these graphs work is we've got time going along the bottom. Okay, so that's just as the day goes along. So with this particular one here, have a look how, count how many squares we get before we get to the number 1. And you can see we got 4 squares, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So obviously each of those squares is a quarter of an hour. It's 15 minutes. Okay. So along the bottom we've got time, and on the y-axis on the side we've got the distance you are from school. Okay, so the distance time graph below shows the journey of a school bus dropping students at 2 villages, and the whole goal here is you've really got to get behind what's going on. So as we're going from O to A, you can see that over that 15 minutes, because we're going along to there, over that 15 minutes, it'll just come through, just waiting for the lag. So just have a look on the graph. Oh gosh, there's a big lag at the moment, isn't there? I think you can only just see the O to A happening at the moment. So as we go from O to A, and I'm going to fluorescent pen at that little bit of the graph in yellow. That hasn't come through yet, but I'm talking about the bit that's going to, oh, it's come through now. So that little journey there, you need to be able to envisage what's happening to the bus. So in that 15 minutes, you need to try and decide how many miles it's gone. Now, can you see that that's gone, the number of miles that we've gone is here. I've just done a little mark in red. So how many miles have we gone in that 15 minutes? We've gone 6 miles. So this is a school bus dropping students at villages at the end of the school. So between O and A, the bus has travelled 15 minutes and gone 6 miles and has ended up at the first village. So let's just go and say, what, 6 miles. Let's say that's taken you from school to, say, Painswick. Okay, so you've gone from school to Painswick and it's taken 15 minutes. Okay, that's the journey from O to A. So you guys need to sort of get behind the graph. Okay, we're not saying the bus has gone uphill or anything like that. We're just saying that in 15 minutes we've travelled 6 miles and it's a straight line, so the bus has gone at a constant speed. Okay, so in 15 minutes we've gone 6 miles. Now, what happens between A and B? Between A and B, I'm just going to change the fluorescent pen colour. Whoops, I haven't changed it. Between A and B, that little journey there between A and B, that's just going to come through in green. Well, what's happened there? We're still 6 minutes, 6 miles from school. Okay, that we haven't got any further from school. And how long have we just been sitting there? Well, the time is now at 30 minutes. So for 15 minutes, the bus has not moved. So I don't know, maybe he got out and had to do something in Painswick. Okay, the driver, there was a problem with the bus, all right? Or I don't know, but for some reason the bus just sat in Painswick, not moving for 15 minutes. So a bit annoying for those kids who are waiting to carry on the journey. Now, what about between B and C? The bit that I've just noted in brown. So again, you've got to get behind it. What's happened between B and C? Well, it's gone another 2 squares along, so that's taken 30 minutes, and we've gone from being 6 miles away from school to now being 12 miles away from school. Okay, so over that period of time from B to C, we've travelled another 6 miles and 30 minutes. So I don't know, what's 6 miles from Painswick? Stroud, say. Okay, so we're now in Stroud. So B to C, the bus has carried on to Stroud and dropped the kids off in Stroud. Okay, now what about from C to D? From C to D, I'm going to mark that in red fluorescent pen. From C to D, well, we're still 12 miles from school. Okay, so I guess, the driver's dropped everybody off. He might have just gone to buy a newspaper. All right, he might, who knows? But he's just gone and stayed 12 miles from school. How long has he stayed 12 miles from school in Stroud? Then obviously just go and look at the time at the bottom. Okay, so we've got that period of time that I'm just about to mark in a red fluorescent pen. What is that period of time? You've got to be able to realise that that's 30 minutes because it's 2 squares. Now, that final journey from D to E, which I'm just going to go and mark in black fluorescent, oh, whoops, that's not black, black fluorescent pen, D to E. Now, that's in returning to school. He's going 12 to 8 to 4 to 0, so he's returned to school. That's taken him back. By the time he gets to E, he is 0 miles from school. He is back at school. Okay, so he's gone 12 miles to get back to school. And how long has that taken him? Well, go and look at the time at the bottom. That's gone and taken him 1, 2, 3 squares. Each square was 15 minutes, so that's going to be 45 minutes. So various types of questions that are on your worksheet. You could be asked, how long did the bus driver rest at his first stop? Well, that would be the bit in green. He rested for 15 minutes. You could be asked, how long did he rest for his second stop? Well, that would be between C and D. That would be 30 minutes. You could be asked, how far did he travel in total? Well, it was 12 miles to Stroud and then 12 miles back. So the answer would be 24 miles. Okay, now I think the vast majority of the questions that I've set on the Dr. Frost worksheet I've covered in this little chat. Okay, anything I've missed, I think we will address again during while you're doing the questions. I'd like you to make a start. I think I've set a lot of questions. From memory, I think it might have been 20. I don't think for a minute you're probably going to get through all of them in this lesson, and that's absolutely fine. I don't want you to feel that you've failed if you don't complete this one in the set time. There will be other lessons when we've got some spare time when we can just go back and finish it off. I don't expect you to be having to do any maths beyond this 55 minutes. Okay, right, so just stay muted and cameras off just while I switch the camera off, please.